Trump may be president, but the reality is, wokeness in gaming is not going away anytime soon. Yeah, sure, a bunch of companies are gonna slightly change their ways a little bit, but currently we don't honestly know if it's just a PR stunt or whatever. Because the reality is, all the companies that went woke are still woke. They didn't fire the people that work there. They didn't fire the people that care about political messaging and pandering more than making good games. They're still all there. And they're still all stuck in high positions, working in HR, aka getting on board other people that are like this. Look at Dragon Age Railguard. Completely fails, flops, doesn't sell a single copy, and all of the people go to make worst case scenario Mass Effect 5. Best case scenario, congratulations, now you're a director at a different studio making the game of your dreams, which I'm sure everyone's gonna love. Yeah, I don't think there is a solution to this.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So today we're going to be discussing a very interesting discovery in the gaming industry, a sort of shadow publisher that has been connected with many different studios across the industry, has now been exposed for not only pushing a woke agenda that is trying to astroturf diversity in the industry, they're also controlling the publishing of many different games from many different studios. Now, a lot of people think about Sweet Baby Inc. when it comes to these insidious behind closed door type companies that are trying to shape the industry. Now,
Sweet Baby Inc. is definitely a part of it. I don't know if it's the biggest part because all of this muddied water mess is probably controlled by a couple of people at the end. We already know that the people who are CEOs and in high positions in Sweet Baby Inc. are board members in other companies. We knew this like months ago. We did a video about that, by the way. It's pretty heinous how all of these people are pretty much just tied together with one another.
today we're not going to be directly talking about Sweet Baby Inc. However, Sweet Baby Inc. will be involved with this publisher because, of course, they are. So what we're talking about today is a report from the channel Gothic Therapy. It's run by Master of the TDS and his wife, Writing Raven, and they made a discovery. They began by looking at a company called Landfall, and then discovering a large volume of companies associated with them, including a shadow publisher that has been connected to many different companies within the gaming industry as a whole, as well as many games that have been released, and of
I'm slightly confused. How can you be a shadow publisher?
course, Sweet Baby Inc. as well. So let's listen to what they have to say in this report that has caused some of these companies to completely wipe their online presence, by the way, and then we'll add some additional insights as well.
That's where Wings Interactive comes in. If you haven't heard of them before, that's exactly how they want it. Wings Interactive is a consulting and funding group a lot like SBI, except instead of pushing writing and narrative changes,
Consulting and funding is so much worse than SBI just in general.
they fund and support game studios. But here's the thing. Wings isn't an indie fund at all. It's a front, a puppet company designed to let Landfall Games secretly control indie projects while pretending to be hands-off.
So basically what's happening here is you have Landfall through many of their different companies they also own who are working with this Wings Interactive group that is publishing games. So basically, Landfall is able to publish games without having their name on it, which, as with anything else, including Sweet Baby Inc., the fact that these companies don't want you to know who they are and who they're working with is concerning. It should be directly concerning to you because why would you be hiding something? Are you not proud of the games that you're publishing and helping produce? Yeah, it seems very suspicious. Now, here's their website, by the way, and I just happen to be very lucky because
Oh, look at that. Man, honestly, I'm surprised that most of these companies don't just start you with a diversity page, okay?
I opened this yesterday and just had this tab open today, and unfortunately for everyone, Wings Interactive has nuked their website. They have wiped pretty much everything clean at this point as a result of the report we're watching today. But you can see, right?
You know what's insane, by the way? What they're currently doing, I'll explain in simple terms because I already get the gist of it. So, there's this company that has money. It has some reasonable power, but it wants more control. Now, if that company does try to enforce its control over the industry or parts of the industry that they care about as themselves, they're gonna have pushback. Can't do that. That's a big no-no. And so they do the classic thing that everyone pretty much in business knows that you can do. They kind of create a shell company or something that offers things to people for getting something in return. AKA in this situation, they offer funding, they offer consultations, and what they want in return is, well, effectively power over you and the decisions that you make in the future, and so on. And that's how they acquire this power. They help a bunch of smaller things. Now those smaller things come together, and now they can create big changes and push big things in a certain sector, a certain industry that they want. Now, granted, moves like this have existed for literally hundreds of years, but no one typically does them because they're fucking evil. Now, granted, some companies do. Google does it. Every literal big other company does it. But most people don't want to do this because it's literally fucking evil. You're being deceptive, but then again, the left, the lefties, the wokies, all of these political pundits, they are evil, so they are naturally gonna do stuff like this.
You go through here, it's all about marginalized groups in the industry, and they're trying to fund them up to $500,000 to produce games that they approve of. They have to approve of it, but there's a lot of steps to take. But let's let them explain what's going on here further.
But don't take my word for it. Let's read their own mission statement. Wings believes that some of the most creative and successful games of tomorrow will be made by teams where women and other marginalized gender developers hold key creative, technical, or business positions. To create those opportunities, Wings provides project funding up.
Sounds fair, doesn't it? Hey, you person who's probably not white. I see great potential in you being a floor sweeper. How about now you become a manager? Yeah, what great choices.
To $500K and business support for teams to self-publish their games and build sustainable studios.
Ah, yes. Independent, but only if they approve of you.
Exactly. And
yeah, so that's like the whole thing, right? They're picking and choosing who they are going to fund with their money here and who they're going to help publish. And of course, they have an agenda. I think it's very obvious they're only going to give this money to marginalized.
Okay, so first of all, the evil part about this is the fact that officially there is no agenda. Complying by rules is not an agenda ever. Okay? And I'm not joking, by the way. This would never be ruled as an agenda or anything like that in any court around the world, even though it's clearly an agenda. Because following rules, by definition, cannot be exactly an agenda.
Groups that they approve of in this scenario. And you saw their whole thing. Their slogan is diversity equals creativity, which I think
Love it.
is the biggest load of crap ever. Just because there's diversity doesn't mean there's creativity. That is such a lame phrase. It's an excuse to push the type of marginalized people you want into the industry, put them on the forefront, and continue to basically...
I like my marginalized people as they are. Marginalized and without power. Not gonna lie.
AstroTurf diversity.
There's a reason they didn't get any power.
In the industry. That's why we have certain percentages like this. So this was reported recently. We briefly talked about this, right? Women and non-binary devs now make up 32% of all game developers. That is up from 24%
and that is not enough, by the way.
From just 3 years ago. Do you think that is a natural expansion of those groups? No, it's astroturfed, it's forced, it's just an agenda push because people want to push this idea that diversity equals creativity.
Exactly.
Therefore, we have these numbers going up and up and up. And also, we don't even know if, by the way, woman refers to someone identifying as a woman. So these numbers could indicate even...
It does. I can spoil this one for you. It just refers to as anyone who's identifying as a woman. So you can actually get this position. You just need to identify as a woman, because the Vogue has one basic flaw, and it's the fact that it's just all the classic who can be the biggest victim type of charade. And, well, I mean, someone saying that you are not a woman while you identify as a woman is pretty high up there in the victimhood scale.
More things like that. But anyways, looking at their website, they will fund your game, right? Up to 500,000. I doubt they're giving that much to anyone. But what really makes me kind of scratch my head about this whole thing is that it doesn't seem like there's really a profit here. Like, it doesn't seem like on its face they're going to make any money on these games that they're helping publish, because a lot of them are literal who games, right? Like, nobody's heard of these games, and yet they're putting so much investment in it. And even for the people, like, look at the terms. Your revenue share is 30% until we recoup our investment once, 50% until we recoup twice, and then 70% we adjust this according to risk. Again, it seems like their main goal here is to...
This is insane, by the way. Your revenue share is 30%. So the people who get this grant get 30% of the revenue until they recoup the investment once. So if these people grant them, like, I don't know, let's say 33K, well, then well, okay, let's take an easy number. Let's take 10K. Well, from they have to give back that 10K, and effectively that means that they need to make something around 15K to actually give this back, which is insane. And then it's 50%, and then you need to repay it twice. aka that's the second time. So for every 1,000 that you actually take here, you need to pay back 3,000, recuperate twice, and then... Okay, no. So it's not even, yeah, it is... Oh no, does this count as 4,000? But you get the point. You have this shit is debt slavery, effectively. This is insane.
To push out more of these games that align with their agenda, and that seems to be it. And the only other thing I can really imagine is some sort of write-off.
Honestly, the best thing that you can probably do is take this, say that you want to make a game, and then you, like, then you go bankrupt while you have paid out all of this money to yourself. This is probably the best you can do.
As a result of all these efforts. But look at the games they have produced. Again, this has been nuked, but they're listing some of the funded games on their website. And if you scroll down, I mean, you look at the teams and you look at some of the games and what they're doing, and it all just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So here's some examples, right? We have this Grimmery Groves. Okay, this game is coming out in about, I believe, a few months. So here's the trailer, the gameplay trailer. 300 views.
What the hell is
year and a half.
this?
Is this game gonna make any money? So they're
no. Clearly, no.
Investing in games like this and bragging about it. I don't know anything about this game, but the fact is 390.
I don't want to know anything about this game. I'm done just by this.
19 views on its trailer at this point. Like, even if every single person purchased a copy who watched this trailer, there's no money to be made. It's not gonna make any money because
oh god, look at the description. The witches couldn't wait to finally move to the fabled Grimoire Grove, a forest which, according to old men... Oh my god. No, I mean, of course, black witches, because what else?
Games like this typically sell for $10 or $15. But let's look at some more examples. So you keep scrolling, and you see, again, just kind of the usual suspects. Here's Sigh of the Abyss. So if you go over to SteamDB, this game released only a few months ago, and it has 2 in-game players. And if you look at the stats, it peaked at 101 players, and then it just...
Hey, that's 1,500 buckaroonies.
Completely flatlined. Like, did they make money on this?
No.
And let's keep scrolling again until we see this one right here. The Fermi Paradox. Again, looking at SteamDB, 2 in-game players. I mean, at this point, I'm wondering if these people are like opening multiple browsers.
The Fermi Paradox is a choice-driven sci-fi narrative strategy game in which your decisions in one corner of the galaxy can upend entire civilizations and other guide species through millennia and help them explore. This actually doesn't seem like a bad idea, but man, considering it's woke.
To keep these games going. But again, this one actually peaked at 423, but then immediately flatlined. And that also, this game was, consider that this game was released 4 years ago. But that's just the point I'm making here. It seems like every single game that they have funded, I look into, and there was no audience. There seems to be no actual profit. And also, you look at the people who are developing these games, and it just
all of them seem damaged.
Seems to fit their own agenda at this point. But this list has been
Don't
nuked.
forget
so
me.
let's return to the report here, because there's some interesting developments that they're going to show involving Landfall's actual building they work in.
And here's the kicker. If you search for Wings Interactive, you will find 0 connections to Landfall games.
Almost like they don't want you to know.
The missing piece of the puzzle? Wings' real name. They don't just operate as Wings Interactive. Legally in Sweden, they're known as Vingar Interaktiva, AB.
Sweden. I mean, is anyone surprised?
There's going to be a lot of Swedish names, and I would have made an absolute fool out of myself, so I appreciate them actually doing the pronunciations for me. That's worth a like by itself, okay?
And why does that matter?
Because Vingar Interaktiva AB is registered at the same address as Landfall Games. That's not just a coincidence.
No.
That's a cover-up. If Wings was truly independent, why would it share an office, a legal address, and even board members with Landfall? Not only that, but at least 12 companies are registered at this same location. And guess what? We've proved they're all connected to Landfall. Here's the...
Yeah, so we're going to look at proof in a second, but it's pretty crazy to think there's 12 different companies all registered to the same building in Sweden, including Landfall and Wings Interactive. That's very suspicious. Obviously, like they said, it's not just a coincidence.
The breakdown. Landfall Games AB, which is the core studio. Landfall Publishing AB, their publishing branch. Landfall Invests AB, part of Landfall Games AB. Landfall Mansion AB, business management. Landfall Mountain AB, another Landfall company. Wilnil Games AB, linked to their CEO. Wilhelm Nuland Aktiebolag, named after their CEO. Content Warning AB, which shares a name with their latest game, Content Warning. Then we found a few independent companies, except they aren't actually independent.
Well, of course they're not independent if they're registered to the same building as Landfall and, I guess, Wings as well. It's a very confusing mess.
I mean, technically it could be a large building. I don't know. But yeah, obviously that's not the case. Everything is fake.
But it shows that there is a greater connection, that basically these players involved, they have their tendrils across multiple sources in the industry. And that is very concerning, especially when they have a clear agenda to be pushing.
Haste Development AB, created by the same people behind Landfall's game Haste Broken Worlds. Arade Grodor AB, or Honored Frogs AB. We found that one of Landfall's developers, Petter Vilberg, is listed as a board member. Thepathin AB.
That's where it gets really interesting for me.
Its board includes Landfall personnel, including Petter Henriksen. This makes it another Landfall-controlled entity operating under the same roof.
So, in other words, it's not a coincidence. They basically just own the whole building.
Bingo, which means Wings Interactive isn't just at the same address, it's part of Landfall's secret business empire.
Which should be concerning to you, because they are advertising themselves as this indie publisher that's working with...
What the fuck is Landfall in general, though?
All these companies on their own volition, and yet they are clearly tied to Landfall, which makes them a liar. It makes them coming off as disingenuous. They're trying to basically bury the lead. And it seems like Landfall clearly has a deep connection to Wings, which, why would they hide that?
So, who's really behind this operation? Well, it gets even juicier. Two names stood out immediately. Petter Henriksen, the vice CEO of Wings,
And this has
who
all been wiped,
also
by the way.
happens to be the co-founder of Landfall Games, but funny enough, doesn't list that he is the vice CEO of Wings on his LinkedIn.
Yeah. You feel the red flags going off there? Why would you be in a position like that with a studio and not list it in your LinkedIn? People list.
I'm looking, can I find how valuable Landfall Games is? Can't kind of find it. There's an Reddit AMA of the person who made this. I'm the founder of a small indie studio called Landfall Games. Well, it's not small any longer, I guess. Yeah. Well, guess that's it.
Every single thing they've ever had the slightest professional connection to in their LinkedIn. It is literally advantageous for them in their career to do so. So the fact that they're hiding it, yeah, super, super bizarre.
Christian Schuster, a Wings selection committee member who also lists
Pronouns everywhere, by the way.
Of course.
Landfall Games in her work experience, and she
By the way, I love how diversity and choosing what is good diversity more than half of the time just ends up with it being white women in charge. Who then promote that, oh, we need more whatever fucking type of people here. It's hilarious.
actually has both of these on her LinkedIn.
So they're not even trying to hide it?
Apparently not. The people running Wings are literally Landfall employees. Now, we have to ask, what is Wings actually doing? They claim to be a funding organization for indie devs, but given everything we just found, that's a lie. Wings isn't a fund, it's a shadow publisher.
So basically,
Which is an interesting concept to see a shadow publisher in the gaming industry who, of course, seems to lean one way with their sort of goals and agenda. And again, with Sweet Baby Inc. or any of these, anytime they want to keep a low profile, there's a reason for it, and it's a reason that should be concerning to you as a customer.
they exist so that Landfall can secretly
Everything that tries to avoid the public eye should be removed. Because the only time you don't want to be in the public eye is when you fully understand and know that if people find out what you are doing, they would not like it. That is the only time you never want to be in the public eye. So everything that doesn't want that should be automatically deemed not good and removed. In any case, that was Rev Says This with 10 out of 10. Bye!